Hello, welcome back to the Theory and Praxis podcast. As you can see from the big text, it's a working title. It kind of sucks. It's not a page turner. It's not a video clicker type of title. So we're working on that. But other than that, how are you doing today, my co-host, Parker?
So far, so good. I've gotten exactly nothing done today because I have only been awake for 2 hours.
Yeah, sounds about right. The only thing I've done today productive was take a shower, and that was a quick one, so it wasn't even that fucking productive. Um, but yeah,
I hate staying up until 4 a.m. playing Star Citizen and then staying up until 7 watching YouTube.
hey, it was worth playing Star Citizen. Okay, and we're gonna do it again.
This is true, but I don't think the added 3 hours of Red versus Blue was worth it.
Um, Probably not, but you know what? It's okay. It's the weekend. We got weekend things. But you know what? None of that really even matters now, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, because now we're here and we're doing the podcast like we set out to do all those weeks ago. So, should we just get right in?
Yeah, probably should. I
Okay.
mean, we're just making ourselves sound like losers at this point. It's kind of sad.
Exactly. So, in the effort to make us not sound like losers, let's first talk about. Let's see. Let's talk about the. You know what? Let's talk about the big bombshell first. Let's talk about uh the Epstein shit. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I I think that the information that people need to one actually read what has been released about the Epstein documents.
Hmm.
Um, One of the things that has been very frustrating to see since the release is one, the proliferation of the Photoshop lists that have been out and floating around for the last 3 years,
Hmm.
or whenever he you know uh
I think that was
towel rope thing happened. Uh,
technically that was like 5 years ago because now it's 2024.
that's true. That's true. But yeah, the proliferation of the fake lists has been frustrating, and also people's unwillingness to understand what the list means, what different terms on the lists mean.
Hmm.
One of because just because somebody's name is on the list doesn't mean they have been implicated in a crime.
Yeah.
Because we like for example, George Lucas met was Epstein came to him once, and that is the
Yeah.
only reason he's on the list because the list contains um, accusers of his, people he's met with, and people that he's done business with, and people that have met with him.
Hmm.
So, for example, Trump's presence on the document is very different from, say, Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Or
Tom Hanks is on there because Epstein met with him.
yeah, or like Stephen Hawking or like Michael Jackson or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um yeah, it's been kind of, and articles do not help, cuz like the
Not at all.
headlines will be like Epstein flight logs revealed, uncovered, and then like it takes like 6 paragraphs for the article to be like, yeah, this is not like the logs. It's just like a compilation of documents um from a lawsuit like what, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember, or was that like
Yeah.
recently?
I think the deposition that the name list of names comes from was from 2021.
Oh, okay, so it's a lot
I
more recent than I
think.
thought.
I
Never
could be wrong on that.
mind. But yeah, it's like it. Like I would have liked to have the Epstein, like the flight list. That would have been nice. But I mean, this is, we
Yeah.
kind of have to make do with this.
What we
And it's
have
not.
right now is a list of names from the deposition from the lawsuit.
Yeah.
So there are names
Um.
on the list who were simply in there because there are names that are on the current list because they were mentioned only for it to be said that they were not actually they didn't have anything to do with Epstein.
Yeah.
Uh, but there were others who were directly implicated because of the deposition.
Mm.
I couldn't tell you
Um.
which because research has not been helpful.
Yeah. Articles that I was looking at didn't help at all. So that's fun. But what did catch my eye was that one of the logs that I was seeing was a like small flight list. And in the documents that came out, I think yesterday, um, the it was a questioning or a testifying of the housekeeper who was being asked a bunch of questions about different people. One of them was Donald Trump. The housekeeper specifically did not testify against Donald Trump. She just said that from what she experienced, he didn't do anything. But here's the thing: the housekeeper only can testify to what happened on Trump's dinner visits because it's the only time he saw her, and the casino visit when Epstein went to Donald Trump's casino. Those are the only times that she can even testify, not the years of them partying or being out or any of the flight logs or like when Trump was on Epstein's private jet. She can't testify to any of that, only the dinner visits and the one or two casino visits that they did.
Exactly.
So,
There's an entire trip those two took together that we have no log of,
yeah,
other than a trip happened.
exactly. So, a lot of people have come out and said that like, oh, these documents make it to where or they completely absolve Trump of any wrongdoing, but it's like that's not the case. She just didn't testify against him for this one thing. The housekeeper doesn't have like witness jurisdiction over the years of them partying or the flights or any of that or any of the other visits where Trump went to Epstein's place and wasn't just for dinner and was staying there for a long time or the Mar-a-Lago stuff. Like she has no testifying jurisdiction over any of that, just the dinner visits and the casino. So just because this absolves him of wrongdoing during the casino visits and the dinner visits does not mean Trump didn't do anything. And because he was friends with him for so long and didn't come out and say anything about Epstein when he probably knew that there was crimes, he definitely knew because Epstein offered him massages, or the massages and stuff like
He's
that.
offered the massage, and they have both admitted publicly on camera they're both into younger girls.
And
So,
the fact that that exists implicates Trump in a sort of like alleged or supposed way that they probably were involved in that. And the fact that Trump didn't say anything or didn't come out or didn't like come out before the Epstein shit even happened kind of, at least in my opinion, would probably implicate him of a actual crime of like assisting in a criminal like assisting a crime because he didn't say anything, he didn't report it, he didn't do anything about it, about the
I
information.
think I
He
think
just
it would
sat
at the
on it.
very least make him an accessory to the crime.
Yeah. So, um, he's still not absolved of any wrongdoing. Just the wrongdoing for the dinner visits and the casino visits when it comes to just the massages, not anything else. Just those two things.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other people, were absolved of a lot of stuff because there are only logs, the only existent logs for say like Michael Jackson or like George Lucas was like one or two visits where Epstein went there for business or to offer them something and they denied it. Like in the case of Michael Jackson, at least I was reading an article earlier that was claiming that the one time Epstein did visit Michael Jackson, it was to offer a massage or the massage, and Michael Jackson denied it, and that was like the one time they ever did anything. So there's that, which also adds to the pile of like the debunking Leaving Neverland documentary. Um, the documentary that was like trying to claim that Michael Jackson was like a pedophile shit, child
Yeah.
molester. It's another point on the pile to why that documentary was completely false. Um, so there's that.
It's definitely at this point become a case that needs to be re-examined.
Yeah, I think. Well, the problem with that is that it's not. It can't be. This case can't be reopened because this was in a case or a lawsuit against. I forgot how to pronounce her first name, but his wife, Epstein's wife, and
I'm,
she's
I'm talking
already
about
been
I'm talking
convicted.
about the Michael Jackson case.
Oh yeah, yeah. That case
That needs
definitely
to be
needs to be
re-examined. No, the
re-examined.
Epstein case is pretty cut and dry. They are guilty.
Yeah. Um. So there's that. Uh. Yeah. Epstein bombshell, but not as big as of a bombshell as we were hoping because we don't have everything still. It's just
Yeah.
documents from the deposition and stuff and like evidence that came forward during that trial against Maxwell. Um, but we don't really have anything else. So we're just gonna have to wait until other documents either get uncovered, found, or released because there are still unreleased documents from that court case.
Yep.
So we're just
More
gonna have to
evidence
wait
will
on
come
that.
out. The island still exists.
Mm-hmm.
Names will be brought forward eventually.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully.
I don't know
Um.
with how our government runs.
Oh yeah, for
They
sure.
might cover it up.
That's another thing that's like people are like, oh my god, Trump is completely absolved of any crime, but it's like, they can like cover stuff up, right? It's like they like we're already seeing how Republicans are willing to just lie on TV about Trump engaging in insurrection, um and like lie in courtrooms. Like we can already see that happening in real life. Why would that why would that be any different for a hypothetical scenario where Trump is like there's a lawsuit against Trump for anything that Epstein did?
Yeah, and
You
especially
know.
like there are a lot of politicians implicated in the Epstein logs,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't just mean like their names show up like directly implicated, and you don't think they're gonna try to cover up at least their more heinous crimes
Yeah,
that they were
I
involved in
mean,
with that man?
like Alan Dershowitz, I think that's his name, Alan Dershowitz.
I believe it is pronounced Dershowitz.
Okay, yeah, like he was like mentioned like 106 some fucking time. Like he was mentioned so many goddamn times in those documents.
Yeah,
Um,
and his only response so far has been Hamas's crimes.
yeah, like what does
Don't
that
look at
have
me,
anything
look
to
at
do with
Hamas.
anything?
Or
Uh,
I believe he said everybody can have the people condemn have the people speaking out against me spoken out against Hamas.
yeah, it's
I believe is what I read that he had said in response to this.
it's so stupid. It's oh my god.
I may have done the exact same thing, but like, did you look at what these other guys did?
Mm-hmm. Like he didn't deny it in like a clear way. He just was like, yeah, but like what about Hamas? Like that doesn't mean okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Uh, Criminals, all of them.
Every accusation is a confession. And Alan in the case of Alan Dershowitz, it definitely seems like a confession.
Yeah.
Um
I
but
mean,
yeah,
he's offered, as far as I know, he's offered no denial.
I haven't read any denials, so I'm going to ignorantly claim that there was no denial. Um, but yeah,
I will plead the fifth for now
uh,
until until a conviction is dropped, so I don't get myself sued for defamation
well,
or
the
some
thing with
shit.
the thing with that is that we're not even accusing him of anything, and not to mention, um, we're just saying that we haven't seen any denial. Okay, because if there is a
This
denial,
is true.
then that's not our fault that we just haven't seen it. Okay.
This is true.
I got the law around my finger. Okay. Um,
You've
but
been
yeah.
watching too much Suits.
uh, but yeah, in the case of the Epstein documents, it's just not like a lot of it is admissible to being like how do I phrase this? A lot of it doesn't indicate that there was any crime on a lot of people, and a lot of people that it does indicate were mentioned probably the most times, and the people that it does but it doesn't are probably people like Donald Trump, where it doesn't implicate him, but it does indicate that there was a lot more involvement than we thought, and that they were like taking visits to each other, flying around with each other, and just because the housekeeper doesn't have any testification that can corroborate any wrongdoing while she was there, doesn't mean there isn't evidence that exists for any wrongdoing that he did elsewhere.
Yeah. And one of
Um,
the really important points that people were raving about being something that would come from the documents would be implicating the Bidens,
Mm-hmm.
which has notably not happened yet. In fact, they're
Yeah.
not, as far as I know, they aren't mentioned in the logs at all, anywhere,
As
in
far
any
as
capacity.
as far as like any documents, but to be fair, I mean Epstein wasn't the only pedophile in the world, so
This is true,
I mean like Andrew Tate's not mentioned in there, and he was a sex trafficker, so
for sure.
I'm not unwilling to say that Biden probably has done something in his past, but I mean if it isn't through
He's an
Epstein,
old politician. He's an old career
yeah,
politician. There's no
there's no
doubt in my
way.
mind that he's done something. But in the
Um,
case of these documents specifically, he hasn't been implicated yet.
Yeah. It's so funny too because I'll go on Twitter and then like people will be raving about like Biden pedophile Epstein documents, but then I'll also see them being like, "Oh, guess who wasn't on the list? Trump." It's like both of these things are completely untrue.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny to just see people lying on the internet when you've literally seen the evidence yourself. Like I've gone through the fucking logs, I've gone through the documents. Trump has mentioned multiple times throughout each of the documents, and on the logs that we have access to, Trump has mentioned like 3 or 4 times on those logs. So it's just
Not,
like,
bro. He didn't do it. He didn't do it.
oh man,
They can't hurt Uncle Rogvier. Tell them he didn't do it.
it's very interesting. Though I just wish it was more of like I wish it was the logs.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was the bombshell that we were led to believe it was.
Because like it's Epstein documents, but it's not like the documents that we needed for anything. It's just like
It's not here's the list of everybody who was involved in the actual crimes. It's just here's a list of names of everybody that he's talked to in the last 20 years.
yeah, it's like okay, thanks guys. This is really useful. Um, but when that day does come and we get the documents, I'm going to be scouring through that like a raving lunatic.
Oh, for sure. I need to
Um,
know if most of my favorite movies are still watchable.
that's what I'm saying. But I mean, it's okay. But yeah, there's not really much else to say about the Epstein shit. Like it was a bombshell, but it wasn't like like the biggest bombshell that there ever was. I mean, we still have like a lot of stuff against like people like Alan Dershowitz, which is Trump's lawyer, which kind of points to something, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait. So hold on. Wasn't Dershowitz also Epstein's lawyer
I think so. Yeah, I actually
in the
don't know.
in 2014?
Um,
I believe he was.
how do you spell his goddamn name? Showitz. Um, he is. I'll just look at his Wikipedia page. Um, let's see. Yeah,
He was.
he was Trump's
Epstein's
lawyer.
lawyer.
Yeah, he was Epstein's lawyer in 2008. He was Donald Trump's lawyer in 2020, and Harvey Weinstein's lawyer in 2018.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
That's oh man.
Oh man. I mean, you are who you surround yourself with, and it looks like
This is
Alan Dershowitz is there's a lot of evidence, okay? This guy's a weirdo.
oh man.
Oh man.
That's wow.
Oh fuck.
Also, scrolling, just doing a quick scroll through what we have on Dershowitz, it still does not look like there has been any direct denial. But this is just browsing headlines, so I will read more into this and probably update next week.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we could probably move on from the Epstein stuff. It's not too big of a deal.
I mean, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's not as big
of a
as it
deal.
could be.
Yeah. Like everyone thought that these were going to be like the thing that was going to change politics for the foreseeable future. It didn't. It's just like a bunch of documents that no one's going to read.
Yeah. It could. It was almost over for Trump, but now we just
yeah.
got to wait for the other series of lawsuits to go through
Speaking
to end him.
Today is the day, okay? Today is the anniversary of the greatest incident of our time.
Oh, that's
January
true.
6th.
It is. Oh my god.
And speaking of January 6th, My man Trump. Let's see. So, oh wait, this is the wrong thing.
I did not realize that's what day it was today.
Wait, is this the Mississippi thing? Wait, hold on.
Did you pull up the wrong article?
No, the OBS is just being weird. What the hell? Okay, here we go. So, Trump, okay, big guy. He talks a lot of big words, okay? Allegedly incited an insurrection. Allegedly.
In huge air quotes.
Humongous air quotes on the allegedly there. We all saw him do it. March on the Capitol, take back our country. He inflamed a riot, allegedly. In Minecraft, if you will. It was a very clear. A lot of people were.
It was very allegedly clear.
Very allegedly clear. And a lot of people were convicted of insurrection because of January 6th. Trump engaging in insurrection by inciting the riot is a pretty clear-cut case. Just because he hasn't been convicted does not mean he didn't do the crime. And he has been charged with it as well. So there's that.
This is true.
But Colorado decided to take him off the ballot for that's the wrong thing. 2020.
Not just Colorado, also Maine.
Oh yeah, Maine. But we're focusing on Colorado because this is the most fucking recent thing, or not recent, but like the most important thing. Trump kicked off the Colorado ballot in 14th Amendment case. They cited the Section 3 clause of the 14th Amendment, which I will read out to everyone here. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any state who, having previously taken an oath, as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such a disability. So, here's the thing, okay? 3 things here, okay? No person shall be a representative or a senator or representative of Congress or elector of president or vice president. I think that just means like, what is an elector of vice president or vice president? Does that mean like you get your voting rights removed, or does that mean that you can't be a candidate?
I believe that means you can't be a candidate.
Because no one has been talking about this line here. And because of that, because of context, I'm not a legal scholar, so I don't know the term elector here, the context of this. So I'm guessing this has to do with voting rights. That's my guess though. But here's the kicker, okay? No person shall be this or hold any office, civil or military. So here's the problem. Any office, civil or military. The presidency is an office, okay? It is a literal position in the government. It's an office position in the government. Previously taken an oath as a member. So we have that. Trump has taken the oath to uphold the Constitution. And okay, let me who previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or an officer of the United States. The executive office, he is an officer of the executive office. He is the commander-in-chief. He is an officer of the United States, okay? Or as any executive or judicial officer of the state. He's an executive officer. He is the executive officer, in fact. So, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. He incited the insurrection, so given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. A lot of people have been convicted of insurrection. Like, I think it was like several thousand. So they are enemies of the state. So because they have been convicted, he gave aid to them because he incited the riot in the first place. So yeah, he's an officer of the state. He's an executive officer. He had previously undertaken an oath as an officer of the United States. Section 3 applies to Donald Trump, allegedly in Minecraft. It's as clear cut as we can probably get it. But the problem, okay, is that Trump can appeal, so he is appealing. And a lot of people have been saying that this doesn't apply to him because he hasn't been convicted of anything. He hasn't been convicted of a crime. But may I ask you this? Were all of the Confederates, everyone who served in the Confederacy, they were all barred and disqualified from being candidates in office? Were all of them convicted of a crime? A specific crime of insurrection? No. No, they weren't. Because that would be ridiculous to try and prosecute like hundreds of thousands of people. That would be ridiculous. So, what do we have here? We have legal precedent where regular people were barred from being qualified to run for president without a prosecution or without a conviction, just by simple fact that they engaged in insurrection, allegedly in Minecraft. How does this apply to Trump? Because he, for all legal intents and purposes, he is a regular person who engaged in insurrection. Plain as that. Now, what does this mean? It means that he doesn't have to have a conviction to still be disqualified. There's legal precedent for that. And according to a lawyer, I think, I
think that really
what is this guy? He's a professor. He is a professor. I don't know what he's a professor of. Okay, he is a legal professor, Harvard University, Amherst College, and Yale Law School. So he is a legal professor. Research interests, constitutional law. So that definitely helps with the his opinion on the 14th Amendment bit. And federalism. So we got constitutional law and federalism, pretty big areas of expertise for why he would have at least some valid opinion on this topic. He wrote an article on the reason free minds and free markets. Don't agree with the overall politics of the articles, but I mean, it has high factual reporting according to some sources. So this guy wrote an article, why Section 3 disqualification doesn't require a prior criminal conviction on charges of insurrection. And through it, he lays out a lot of different reasons why Trump doesn't need a conviction to still be disqualified on basis of insurrection. And one of those reasons is because it's a civil case. Civil defendants don't carry the risk of death penalty, prison terms, or getting a criminal record. In this case, Donald Trump doesn't even face the prospect of forfeiting any of his property or paying damages. All he stands to lose is eligibility for various state and federal government jobs. That's the only thing he stands to lose from this. And what we've seen, at least according to this article, is that civil cases often don't need a conviction to still carry punishments. And this is especially because of the fact that they carry a lot less risk for anyone involved. And since Trump is facing almost no risk other than losing eligibility to become a presidential candidate, this applies to it even more. And we have legal precedent for it. We have this article that explains why it doesn't need a conviction other than that legal precedent. So I ask you, Parker, do you think that Trump needs a conviction to be disqualified, or that should? It'll be a two-parter. Let's say, does he need a conviction, and should he need a conviction? I'll ask you those two questions.
I don't think he needs a conviction. I don't think he should need a conviction. I honestly just get his ass off the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cut and dry case. He committed insurrection.
Allegedly in Minecraft.
Allegedly in Minecraft. His defense doesn't help that, though, considering that his defense as far as I have seen so far, has been that he never took an oath to uphold the Constitution.
Yeah, even though he did, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, what is the first sentence of the presidential oath of office?
yeah.
I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will do my best, uh, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Okay, it's the very last bit of the oath of office, but like, he took the oath of office. It's the first thing you do as president, and he is claiming that he never took an oath to uphold the Constitution, and that is his defense.
And even if he didn't, it doesn't matter because it like under previous state who having previously taken an oath. That's after it says no person shall be this or hold any office civil or military under the United States.
Exactly.
So like we already have some argument to say that even if he didn't take the oath, he still can't do it.
Yeah, the precedent has been set. Trump should not be eligible for a ballot run in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this year. He. I mean, there isn't much to be said. It's a cut and dry case. The crime was committed, and he's just simply, the law and order president is refusing to bow to law and order.
Oh man, it is quite the spectacle, honestly. Like seeing everyone like debate, oh, rah, 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 it's destroying democracy, and it's like, what are you talking about?
You don't care about democracy. You've been saying for the last 4 years that America is not a democracy.
Literally, they'll be like, oh, it's destroying the democracy, but it's like, dude, on this day 4 years ago, you literally tried to overturn a democratic process. It was a failed insurrection, but it was still an insurrection. And
but no, it was peaceful as they were chanting to hang Mike Pence for refusing to bow to criminals.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, hundreds of people have been convicted of insurrection because of the riot that Trump incited.
Exactly.
That's a direct link that points to him. Like, I don't know how clear cut, like how, like, what do you want me to say? Like, how much more clear cut do you want it to be? Like
him on video in the Capitol holding an axe.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Then again, they probably, even if that were a real thing, they'd claim it was photoshopped.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
It is my personal headcanon for U.S. politics that Trump actually escaped the motorcade that day, and he was the one that stole Pelosi's podium.
Probably.
And not the random guy who got charged with stealing Pelosi's podium.
Oh man. It's just a wild scenario that we're in. Like every single time anything to do with Trump, it's like I really feel like people just turn their brains off. It's so weird.
I mean, to continue to follow that guy, you kind of have to. Thinking is how you get hurt.
That is true. Oh man, this is... And other states are following suit, but this disqualification is on hold because the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS themselves, is going to be starting arguments to determine whether or not it's legally actionable. Either to whether or not they agree with the ruling or whether it's legally actionable. I don't remember which one it was, but on February 8th they begin argumentation.
An article open for that right now.
Okay. But I know it starts on February 8th.
Never mind. This article is not allowing me to... Yep, there it goes. Never mind, I have to pay for it, and I'm not doing that.
Bruh.
Fuck you, Fox.
I can give you 12-foot ladder and just put that in.
This is true. If it even works this time.
Yeah, he doesn't work a lot of the time.
Yeah. I lost my... so as of today, according to Fox News, he's being... The Supreme Court case is being backed by... Well, Trump is being backed by 27 states.
Oh my god.
Which is still I don't think using those. 27 out of 48. I don't think that really helps his odds that much.
Mm.
Um, if they are able to start pulling him from ballots.
Yeah.
I'd say with the conservative majority on the Supreme Court, um, it's possible that it goes his way, but at the same time, his odds either way are not great.
Mm-hmm. Like, I really don't like. Not only do I think he shouldn't be able to qualify, and that this ruling should stick, but I don't even think it matters if it does. I don't think he's winning either way, at least in terms of
For
like
sure.
the popular vote, because Republicans are already too divided on the issue as is, let alone the country. I don't think enough people want to vote for Trump right now in the first place. I don't think he's winning.
Yeah.
Unless something happens in the next fucking 8 months. Like I don't I don't see him winning very much. Like
Unless Biden somehow gets worse.
yeah, dude. Oh my god. If Biden gets worse, I'm gonna kill myself. But you know what? It's whatever. Biden. Biden's a dude.
Biden needs to start, being not Biden.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting really sick of Biden being Biden.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to vote for Biden.
Me either. I don't want to vote for Biden either. But we kind of have to right now. Sucks. Democracy is dead.
Certainly feels that way.
But yeah. A lot of people just whining about this. I really don't think Donald Trump's going to win either way. I think the only way he's going to win is if the Electoral College elects him. Because as we know, it doesn't matter what the popular vote is. As long as the Electoral College exists, we can't have a popular vote. So it doesn't really matter whether or not he wins the popular vote. But he's not going to win, I don't think. I want to bet like 9 times out of 10 Donald Trump doesn't win this year on the popular vote.
Yeah.
Electoral College, different story. I have no idea.
If he can even run.
Yeah, if he can
by
even
some
run.
miracle the Supreme Court does find that he is guilty, then we're good. We're golden. Yeah. It's just I think at that point we're left between like Biden, DeSantis, and Haley.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to vote for DeSantis or Haley, so I see Republicans abstaining from voting if that's what happens. Because at that point we're left with a bumbling idiot and Ron DeSantis, the man who wears high heels on stage, because he has a humiliation fetish.
Oh man, why would you do that, Ron? It doesn't make any sense. Just wear lifts. You don't have to wear high heels. Just wear lifts.
Just wear like the giant platform boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, his shoes are. I don't need to talk about this. We have other things. We have more important things to talk about.
Oh man.
But like, man,
it's
DeSantis is definitely a character.
He's a character. He seems fake, honestly.
I mean, his smile isn't. He feels like an android trying to pretend to be human. You know. God. Like he gives me the same vibe as like Ash towards the end of Alien. Like my man is not real.
I just can't stop thinking about like what is like how's Ron gonna handle the presidency? Like I don't think he can handle it.
He can't handle Florida.
That's true.
He's gonna spend 4 years demonizing and trying to genocide trans people, and that's it, because that is his entire platform. That, or he's just gonna pardon Trump and be like, "Here, take my seat."
Yeah. Well, I mean, any final thoughts on this subject?
I mean, there isn't much more to it.
Yeah. It's
It's
pretty.
pretty it's pretty clear what's I mean the results aren't going to be clear. They could go either way,
Oh
but
yeah,
like
for sure.
what's going on here is pretty damn clear.
Yeah, it's like consistent, like consistently. There's precedent against Trump. There's legal arguments you can make against Trump in the fucking definition itself, and um, there's also legal arguments for like civil case versus like criminal case punishments and convictions, like there and like not needing a conviction in the first place. Like there's so many different avenues this can be argued for why Trump should just not be should not be qualified regardless of whether or not he's been convicted. Like there's so many ways you could do it. Um,
Yeah. It's just a matter of our government like not being cowardly.
yeah, I I think if people were more like procedurally pure, I think everyone would probably be like, yeah, Trump doesn't, he shouldn't be qualified to run for president. But because people are like partisan and have a lot of bias, I think, yeah. And if you can make an argument for Biden as well, I mean, I don't. If you can make that same argument for Biden, then do it. If it holds up in
Hear
court,
me
then it
out.
holds up in court.
If you're a criminal, you shouldn't hold political office.
Well, depends on the crime. I think if you're like a civil criminal, I think it's like just or like a misdemeanor criminal type of criminal, then you should be able to still. But if you commit like a federal offense
Well, yeah,
and it doesn't get like
federal criminal. Yeah,
like if it doesn't get wiped off your record, or if you're not found innocent, then you shouldn't be able to apply for president or like be a president. It's so
especially considering that his charge is insurrection.
yeah, and people will say, yeah, he hasn't been charged. He has. He's on trial for it.
He's been charged. He just hasn't been convicted.
Yeah, and the conviction
There's a
doesn't even
difference.
really matter anyways, as we have found. So it's this is a pretty consistently like Trump shouldn't be on the ballot type of case.
Yep.
But if there's nothing else, then I think we should take a little break. Roll the ads. We are back and we have returned.
Whoa. Welcome
Last-
back.
Yes. The last topic we have to cover today is a topic concerning a Mississippi prison who was burying bodies of deceased people without even notifying the families of them. And the prison was using forced and free labor from the prisoners to bury the bodies of these people. And some of these people were killed by the police. That's a little weird. But Parker, you were more prepared for this section, so I'll let you take the reins for now.
So reading into this story has given me the same kind of vibe as the plot of like a Mike Flanagan horror miniseries, some shit. You know, Hill House, Midnight Mass, that stuff. So a lot of these people weren't even. Not only were the families not notified, but they weren't even given they were because nobody
I have
reported
a phone call to
a
make.
damn thing.
Sorry. Sorry for that inconvenience. I just had to take a call real quick. One of our friends decided to call. Yeah. So, anyways, what were you saying?
So, a lot of 215 bodies have been found behind a prison in Jackson. Was it Jacksonville? Was it Jacksonville or Jackson County?
I think it was Jackson
Hold on.
County.
I swear I knew what I was talking about an hour ago when we were talking about this, and now my brain is completely blanking. It was Jackson, Mississippi. But these 215 bodies were found buried behind this prison. Allegedly, they've been using the prisoners to bury these people in what they call paupers' graves, which are graves for people who can't afford to be buried in a cemetery, which makes it the state's responsibility. But a lot of these people, the really interesting and also, well, I'd say probably the most concerning fact is that a lot of these people were not only were their deaths not reported to their families, their deaths weren't reported at all whatsoever.
Yeah, they were
They were
missing
still
persons.
believed, yeah, they were still believed to be just missing. Um, some of the people that have been named so far, one of them was one of the ones that was still marked as missing. I can't find his name within this article here, but last I saw, one of them had actually been hit by a police cruiser and killed. Um, and he was buried and reported as missing and not deceased. So there's definitely something fucking going on there. A lot of police cover-ups, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
This is this is the kind of thing that you would see that in a few. I swear we're gonna see a horror movie made about this in the next few years.
Yeah.
Here's the story about the guy who was hit. But yeah, 215 bodies buried silently, no report. And apparently, the so far the only defense that we've heard is that the new police chief has pointed out that he wasn't the one in charge when a lot of these people went under.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just apparently they didn't have a policy a reporting policy for the deceased in that city
Right.
until just now until these specific bodies were found.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only reason this was even able to happen.
For sure. But yet, I always assumed that was just the standard,
Mm-hmm.
you know? If somebody is killed, it's reported,
Yeah.
right? Especially if the police are involved. But 215 bodies and nobody knew they were there.
Not only
None of it
that,
was reported.
but even if let's say, yeah, there's no like next of kin policy where they had to report them to the families. But here's the thing, they didn't. Especially in the case of the police cruiser incident where they killed a guy and then reported it missing. That's against the law, even if they didn't have a next of kin thing, because they knew the crime. The crime was already solved. He's not a missing person. He's a dead person, and you do have to change the report and what's going on with that person if something happens or like evidence comes up. Like if there's a missing person, you find the person, they're not missing anymore. Even if you don't have to notify the family, he still shouldn't have been a missing person. He should have been someone who was manslaughtered or killed or something,
Exactly.
which gives credence to the idea that it's a police cover-up operation.
Yeah, and considering they're using prison labor to do it instead of doing it themselves,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably prisoners in there too.
Mm-hmm.
People they just decided they didn't like, got a little too rowdy, buried him out back.
Exactly. And Jackson, Mississippi isn't it's pretty notorious for having like racist police and shit like that. And a lot of these people in the Merrick Grays, at least from some articles that I was finding, were of like more brown descent. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Um, so like it's an interesting thing. It's I can't really say much on it because I didn't really do too much reading before this, but it definitely does seem like another case like yesterday. Well, not yesterday, but last week, um, where it was police cover-ups, police protecting their own, using the legal system to get one over on people, and in this case, using the the omission of policy, or using the not the omission of policy, the non-existence of a policy to omit a crime that they committed, or the death of someone that was reported missing. Definitely seems like a very sketchy scenario, to say the least.
Well, here's another one. There was a man, his last name Hawkins. He was found dead in a hotel room, allegedly, May 23rd, 2022. Investigators confirmed his identity. Coroner's office ruled the cause of death and everything. But the department never told his family. They didn't find out until NBC reporters told them on December 4th, 6 months later. And his death certificate failed to include the drugs that were allegedly found in his system, which tells me that's not what happened at all. Allegedly.
Allegedly in Minecraft.
Allegedly in Minecraft. And then on top of that, so Dexter Wade was the guy who was killed by the police cruiser, or the police department SUV. Died on March 5th. His body was found November 13th, and that was when people were notified that he was dead.
Damn.
So these people have been missing for months, or in one of the other articles it said possibly years, because they are still trying to identify they're still pulling out and identifying bodies, as far as I know. And nobody knew.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody told anybody. Well, except for the people that put him there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I will say, the chief of police has been calling for a federal investigation into the department. I think there's a chance he ends up going missing too at some point.
Yeah.
Because he is the new guy who has just called the feds into their mass graveyard.
Yeah.
Which usually doesn't end well, according to movies at least, because that's the only source you need for anything. Oh yeah, people in the graveyard have been missing for up to 8 years.
Damn.
There are bodies in it that have been there for 8 years.
Holy fuck.
It's the oldest that is the latest number that I've seen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there are 11 pages on the NBC article that I'll send you right now. They have a document at the bottom of the list of 11 pages of names and the dates they were buried. Jesus Christ. So here's that article, the NBC article.
I think I have this.
But we have people that have been in there as early as the earliest I see is January 15th, 2016.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Running all the way up to there's a way to skip to the end of this.
Damn.
Buried as recently as July of 2023.
Oh my god. What the
So this wasn't like an old thing they dug up either. This was an ongoing graveyard they had running behind this prison.
What the fuck? Yeah, this is weird.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to America. Gotta love it. What in the hell, man? Oh boy.
But like the fact that this goes on for this long and nobody reports it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it was deliberate. Obviously it was the cops covering their asses. There better be fucking charges with this.
Oh yeah, I fucking hope so.
Jesus Christ.
They need to sue the prison, the fucking police department. They need to sue that entire like fucking thing, that entire system over there.
Because like, there's no way you run a graveyard this big using prison labor to bury them, and it's just one or two bad apples, as the right always loves to say.
Yeah.
There's no. This is a department-wide thing.
This is not a. It's just a few bad apples. It's not that.
This is everyone was either involved or at the very least complicit.
Mm-hmm.
This is charges all around.
And the only reason this was made possible was because of a lack of regulation. Like, We need to be regulating police a lot more than we do now. Because a
Hear
lot
me out.
of problems that we have is because of a lack of regulation currently.
Yeah. I mean, at the very, very bare minimum, that they will probably never approve. I mean, body cams 24/7 streamed to some database that is publicly accessible.
Yeah.
I know the Biden administration was they were gonna they were gonna set up something like that to log um all claims made against officers, all complaints and all that. Except it was only accessible by law enforcement, so that
Right.
doesn't really help at all whatsoever. But yeah, we need more regulation. This department specifically needs to be shut down, and everybody needs to be fucking charged.
You know, I'm
Like
inclined to agree. To
there
agree.
is no excuse for this. There's no defending this. This is, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Shaking my head. Yeah. In my view, this is a pretty clear cut case of like police cover ups, police institutions being entirely corrupt, prison institutions being entirely corrupt, and interwoven with that corruption from the police institutions. Like most executive branches are corrupt anyways. Punitive branches are probably equally as corrupt, if not more so. And these people working together, like these institutions working together to have some sort of conspiracy to defraud the people of the United States, uh, in at least in the sense of not reporting crimes as that happens, like completely forging missing persons reports. Like, dude, oh man, this is a pretty bad scenario they've caught themselves in.
This is the shit horror movies are made out of.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. I think if we've learned anything today, it's that politicians and government institutions are corrupt. Very, very corrupt.
Whole system's broken.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that's all we have time for today. Um, any final thoughts on anything?
Not really. Um, I also wasn't expecting this to hit as hard as it did after
Mm,
reading. Like, it's one thing to read through it; it's another to actually look at it, talk about it, really
yeah.
process what is happening here. Specifically with the Mississippi thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just kind of at a loss for words.
politics and like stuff like this just it really does like take its toll on like I don't want to say the soul, but like taking it takes its toll on like your emotional state and like your emotional availability.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, we can make fun of Republicans for being dumbasses about Trump, but like when it comes to like stuff like this, it's really hard to like just talk about it, you know?
Yep. Especially considering man, we have shit like this happening, and then what we have the mainstream focused on is 10-foot tall aliens allegedly seen at a shopping mall.
Yeah, dude. Like, oh my god. Like, complete misbalance of priorities.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Like, fucked up shit happens, and the immediate response from news organizations and from our government is to respond with the aliens are real,
Mm-hmm.
or oh look over there, a train crashed.
It was the same thing with the insurrection trials, or like the insurrection live streams and shit. Like the second they started, there was like, oh my god, aliens, guys, look, aliens. Like, who gives a shit? I care about like what's going on. I also care about being able to afford rent. Like, like that's what the kind of shit I care about. Not
Oh, you can't afford rent? Let's ban TikTok.
yeah, like that dude. It's so stupid. Complete misdirects, like and derailments everywhere. It's so annoying.
The the enemy of the government is communication. Like
Hmm.
that's, I mean, that's not a new thing. They know it. We know it. They're gonna keep trying to they're gonna keep trying to prevent it
Yeah.
because the more the people talk, the more fucked they get.
Hmm. Well, that's all we have time for today. So, what did we learn today? Government bad. Okay. Police bad. Again, we learned that twice in a row so far. Um, institutions bad. Prisons. No, no. Trump bad. Orange
America
Man
bad, no
bad.
redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. Next week, probably gonna talk about some. Hopefully, I'm hoping not police again because I don't want to just keep talking about police. It's not
It's
a police
important, but I
channel.
don't want to become reporting on the. I don't want to become a police report
Yeah.
station or whatever the fuck, however you'd word that.
But yeah.
Hopefully,
Well.
something a little more upbeat.
Yeah. Well. Hopefully, some people watch this, and then hopefully they return to the next episode. Today we were eloquent. Next time we will be.
Disorganize as shit on purpose.
Oh, okay. We will be more energetic. So the first time we were unenergetic and disorganized. This time we were organized but unenergetic. Next time we're gonna be organized and energetic. Just
It would
wait.
help if we woke up more than an hour before recording.
And if we actually prepared throughout the week instead of
This
just
is true.
doing preparation like an hour after we woke up. If we did actually some preparation, it'd be better.
An hour before we woke up, 5 minutes before we hit record.
It's okay. Well, goodbye, y'all.